Hi everyone, welcome to Colette's Thermomix Kitchen. My name's Collette Mitrega. And your loud mouth ripping them. I know I do the same intro every time. Collette Mitrega, I'm a Thermomix consultant here in Australia. And welcome. Today we are...
Oh, you didn't say servicing all states and territories.
I know, you're making me laugh, trying to ad-lib me. Anyhow, today we are looking at a beautiful dessert, and it's a cookie dough recipe, but I'm just going to present it up a little bit differently, the way that I like. And it is an orange and passion fruit Eton mess. Now, I love making Eton mess. I do it with all sorts of different things, and it's a great dessert because if you've got people over for dinner or even on Christmas Day, you can make the components of this the day before and have them all ready for you to assemble just before serving. Christmas Day, a beautiful big black platter with this all piled on top. It's just a beautiful sight to behold. Anyhow, let's get cracking. So we're going to move over to this Thermomix first of all, and we're going to crack on with the passion fruit curd component. So I'm into the recipe here, which is on cookie dough, and I'm just going to head down, and I want to bypass the mango into the passion fruit curd, and I'm going to kick off at that step there. Now it's telling me to strain off the passion fruit. So we want about 80 grams of passion fruit juice. That equates to about 4 large passion fruit. And you want to obviously strain it. So let it drip through a mesh, not too fine a mesh. So hopefully in your kitchen you've got a really fine mesh for your jus and sauces, and you've got another one for things like this, where the holes are a little bit bigger. And then just with a spoon help it to get through. So this is the juice for passion fruit, which is about that 80 grams. So I'm going to pour that. So I've just done that. Okay, reserve any remaining seeds, which I've done. Butterflies going in.
Actually, a passion fruit martini would be nice.
Oh, actually, we must have a nice lychee martini.
Have you got some lychees?
I have, they're in the fridge.
Are you going to make some lychee martinis later?
Definitely. There's some there, Andy. All right, passion fruit's going in.
But you've got to keep more lychees left over, because that's always a nice bit. When you finish at the end of your martini, there's a lychee there to eat.
I know. All right, and now the juice has gone in, following along. So the juice from about 1 orange is going in here, which is about 40 grams. Hitting next. And the next thing we're going to add in is our caster sugar. Making curds in the Thermomix, oh my goodness, the Thermomix is brilliant at doing this. You know, all those curds, and so many restaurants now are actually making sauces and curds and anglaises and custards in their Thermomix to serve to customers, because it's really foolproof and beautiful. So caster sugar's gone in, and now we've got some unsalted butter, which is soft. If you're like me and you forget to take the butter out of the fridge and it's hard, remember, just pop your butter in here and just whiz it on about speed 6 for about 30 seconds to a minute, and it will just make it all nice and soft so you can get on with your recipe. Now remember, whenever you're using your butterfly, just balance the ingredients out, so you're not putting them all on one side, you're kind of putting them on both sides. It's going to give you a better kind of result. All right, moving along here. 3 eggs going in. And next.
That sounded good.
That's it. That is all we need to do for our curd. All in there. Now with the TM6, you've got a thicken mode, so you could engage the thicken mode, which I'm not going to do today because I know there's a couple of TM5 owners there, but I've got to say, using the thicken mode is really, really good. It's kind of foolproof, because what happens is it automatically sets the temperature, and that means that that napper or that thickness of your curd is going to be perfect. Whereas sometimes with this method, with the 5, you've got to kind of just do a couple of little tests to make sure it's at that perfect setting point. Now remember, when you're using the modes, so I just go home and go into the modes and just show you that thicken mode for those wonderful people with the 6, into the thicken mode. You've only got 2 temperatures. You've got 80 degrees, oops, or you've got 100 degrees. 100 degrees you use when the sauce is thickened with flour. So if you're making gravies and things like that, or custards. And 80 degrees is what you'd use when you're thickening with egg, such as this particular curd. So we're going to just follow along with the recipe. If I was doing this myself, I would switch into thicken mode, absolutely. So measuring cup's gone in, I'm heading next, and it's going to go for 8 minutes at 80 degrees, and off we go. So the difference between the thicken mode and here, this is set at 80 degrees. The thicken mode has got a built-in sensor, and that's how it knows exactly when it's, let's go back, exactly when it is done to perfection.
So why aren't you using thicken mode?
Because I'm just following the recipe, just I don't want to confuse anyone.
Oh, on the recipe, it doesn't really say.
It's not a TM6 recipe, but remember, even though you're using a TM5 recipe, if you have the 6, please switch into those modes, you know. If you are doing your vegetable stock paste, why go up to speed 5 and stand there and slowly move all the way up to speed 10 when you can go straight into the blend mode and walk away? It will actually do all that build-up.
So is there a TM6 version of this recipe?
No, there isn't. So anyhow, okay. So the curd is now on. So what I want to do now is move over to Thermi number 2. And of course you can make that curd the day before, have it in the fridge so you're ready to assemble. And I would definitely always make the meringue the day before. It's just less to do on a day when you've got guests arriving. Now, a lot of people kind of panic with meringue, but the Thermomix really does make amazing meringue, I have to say. And what I've got here, I have got 3 as per the recipe. Let's just follow the recipe. I have a habit of switching out of recipes and doing things myself. So I'm going into the recipe and I want to start with the meringue. So into step 1, oven's preheated. Let's just talk about the oven temperature. You need to get to know your oven, all right? Now, I know with my oven, if I cook on fan force at 100 degrees, I'm going to end up with a kind of a brownish looking meringue. I try to keep them nice and white, so I like to put my oven down to 90 degrees. So the first time you do it, just observe that kind of thing and make a little note. All right, so oven down to 90. I've lined a baking tray already. And I have got my caster sugar weighed out, 100 grams of caster sugar, and off we go here. Love the fact with the TM6 you've got so many videos. This one shows you how to pop in the butterfly, and of course you can see all that on the screen, and even foodie techniques, you'll see that on the screen, and it's such a great learning tool. So hitting next. So egg whites. Now the egg whites need to be at room temperature, all right? Really important. You've taken them out and you've brought them to room temperature. They're going to pick up more volume at room temperature, which is good. So I've got 3 egg whites and 100 grams of sugar. Now with meringue, it isn't a science. You can add more sugar, you can add less sugar. What the sugar is going to do is stabilize the egg whites, and it's going to give you, you know, that stable meringue that you want. Oh, excuse me, guys.
So Tracy spotted the magazine in the background.
Oh, yes. Let's not talk about that. Anyhow, so 3 egg whites. The ratio that I tend to use for my meringues is 3 to 1, and I remember that because it's the same as salad dressings. 3 parts fat to 1 part vinegar. Egg whites, or meringue, 3 parts egg white to 1 part sugar. But if you are doing meringues and it's not stabilizing, you can add a bit more sugar. The minimum you want to add is about a tablespoon per egg white, and the maximum I think is about 1 cup or a quarter cup to every 1 egg. Other than that, it starts to kind of grow up. But the recipe here is actually the same as mine, which is 3 to 1. So 3 egg whites going in. And we're going to do the first step of making the meringue, and that is we want to create a kind of a foamy mix. So it's going to heat up for 2 minutes at 37 degrees, so it's warming it up a little bit to help it go, and we're going around to 3.5, and that's going to whip that up.
Clever, Thermi.
Any questions?
Were a few, I've lost them now.
That's okay.
So do you need to cool the bowl in the fridge before making meringue?
No, not at all. So the only thing I would do with my bowls, so I always do make sure whenever I clean my bowls, I clean them properly every time. So I always do pre-wash and then just make sure that they are done properly. I never just water and tip them out. When I make egg whites, the one meringue, the one extra step that I do is I will undo the bowl. I'll get a bit of kitchen paper and I'll just pop on a little bit of vinegar and I'll wipe that all around the bowl and on the blade. And what that will do is get rid of any fat. If you get any fat, including any egg yolk, in your white mix, it is not going to stabilize. So that's the only step I do. The bowl, room temperature, just wiping it with a little bit of vinegar, just to make sure there's no fat in the bowl. Have a little look through there, Andrew, if you can. Are you able to? So what it's kind of doing now is the first stage is just kind of mixing it, and it's creating a kind of foamy, it's a little bit kind of, it's not thick and glossy, it's just the first stage, and you need to do that when you're making the meringue. We're nearly done here. The one thing I always do as well, the recipe isn't telling us, I will always add in just a little snitching of cream of tartar. It's an acidic component, and what that is going to do is to help to thicken it, to stabilize it a little bit. So always have done. You can add salt, you can add vinegar, all sorts of things, but the only thing that I add now is a bit of cream of tartar. That's it.
What quantity is a smidgen?
It's just like a pinch at the end of a spoon. It's just a teeny little pinch.
I bet there's no such word.
Oh, I just created it.
Smidgen.
So heading on to next.
I like smidgen.
Just to show you where we're at. So you can see it's kind of foamy-ish. It's not thick and glossy, but it's now at the stage where it's ready to take the sugar to start to volumize it. Right. So the next stage is going to go for 3 minutes. We're maintaining that heat at 37 degrees. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the dial, and it's telling me turn the dial, hit next, and now we're going to slowly add in the sugar. So I'm just adding this in, slowly, a teaspoon at a time. I've got 3 minutes to do this.
Not a smidgen at a time.
Yeah, a teaspoon at a time. You can pop it on the lid, I've seen all that, but this, to me, it controls it nicely. You know, you can see how I'm sprinkling it in. It's not going in big dollops. And the idea is you really want to make that sugar dissolve totally. If that sugar has not totally dissolved, you'll get a weeping meringue.
What's a weeping meringue?
So after it's cooked, you'll get all this kind of thick white liquid that comes out of it.
Oh, someone said earlier their meringue was like lava.
Yeah, so that means it either in the very first step hasn't been whipped up enough, or you've gone too quickly with the sugar.
Well, passion fruit curd when finished.
Excellent, so I will carry on with this because I can't stop this. Of course you could have your lemon curd in there, but the passion fruit gives it a nice tropical flavour. One of the things you want to think about when you're doing your desserts, and especially this dessert as well, is the sugar, the sweetness versus the acidity. You want a bit of both. So the meringue, I've seen meringue recipes with twice the amount of sugar. You can do that. You know that if the meringue egg whites can hold it, but it becomes very, very sweet. So what I'm going to be doing is make sure the fruits that I serve with this are going to be slightly acidic in nature, and that's going to balance it out really well. So I'm going to let that carry on. We'll move over here, and we're going to test it. Yep, so it's telling me to check it. And what we're checking it for is the consistency. So there we go. I'm going to pop my spoon in, and I'm going to take my spoon out, and there's a little French technique called a Napa technique, and you use it for ice creams and all sorts. If you can push your finger through, oh, that tastes good. Can you put your finger through me? And you get a parting without it flooding back in. You know it's at that right level.
Oh.
And it's not overly sickly sweet, is it?
Now there's a bit of sort of like tartness to it as well, isn't it?
All right, so it should coat the back of the spoon, that Napa technique. So now we're just going to continue for a couple of more minutes, as per the recipe tells us. And again, we're going to go around to speed 3 for 2 more minutes.
What's the cream for?
The cream is for later.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so let's have a look at our meringue. So there you go. There's the meringue. You can see that is perfect. Okay. And what we're going to do now, because we're doing an Eton mess, so you can see how thick and
When you used to do mashed potatoes and the boys were at home, you give them each one of the whiskers.
Oh, I did.
Whisks.
They used to love those. Right. So what I want to do, so if you're using this for a meringue, you'll just shape your meringue and you'll shape it up nice and high. But all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a few mounds, because with the Eton mess we're going to break it up. Okay, I'm just going to grab my offset spatula.
So we assume the heritage of this recipe goes back to Eton school?
I believe there's a story where they were making a dessert. I think it might be something like a meringue of some kind, and it just failed. And what they then did is just broke the meringue up, threw it in with strawberries and cream, and that's the traditional Eton mess. And everyone just loved it, and it stayed as a very famous dessert. So what I'm doing is I am just flattening this down to about 2 centimeters high. And that's now going to go into the oven. I'll just put this on for now, excuse me. Into the oven. And that's going to cook. Now, the recipe, I think, says 80 minutes at 100 degrees. You're going to have to watch it. So I've got mine at 90, and I like to go for an hour and a half. You could... So you just kind of figure out the temperature. You could quite happily go for an hour, sorry, for half an hour at a slightly higher temperature, and then leave it in overnight. You just got to play around with it, really. So in that goes, and I will leave that for an hour and a half. Then what I will do is I will turn that oven off. Right, so our curd.
And then leave them in there with the oven off.
Yeah, I'd leave it in there for a couple of hours. Minimum. So the curd is done, which is beautiful. Now, as this cools, it thickens up a bit more. And the last thing that I need to do is grab another bowl and another butterfly. Another butterfly going in, and I just want to whip some cream. Now, I'm not doing a chantilly cream, a chantilly cream, and it's in the recipe so you can follow it. The chantilly cream will have a bit of vanilla added to it and a bit of icing sugar. There's enough sweetness in this already. I just want to whip up some cream. So butterfly is in, okay. I'm just going to press the home button for here. And I'm just going to pour in as much cream as you think you might need. That will be fine. So, it's gone in. And then to whip that up, I'm just going to basically go to speed 4. No time, speed 4, and I'm going to whip it.
Whip it good.
So remember, your butterflies can never go above speed number 4. All right, so let's have a look and let's start to serve up. Gotta listen out for this. I can hear it now. So I'm watching now. I heard the change in the beating, so I watched it through the lid. That's now whipped up beautifully. Cream is now done. Okay.
You made up some meringue earlier.
I have.
Clever girl.
Oh no. So now we're ready to assemble. So I'm going to grab some meringue from the oven. I made this morning, and it's just been sitting in the oven. So there it is, cooked. Now remember, when you turn the oven off, the meringue is going to be soft on top. All right, it's when it starts to dry out in the oven that it starts to go crispy. So this has probably been drying out for a couple of hours, and you know the meringue is done when it lifts off the actual page, and underneath you've got that nice sound. So all I'm going to do is just break up some of this.
Nice piece.
into you don't want tiny lumps. We still want to kind of do that. Feel that good?
That's good for me.
All right, so just breaking that into pieces. That's enough for now.
It's rather good, isn't it?
Okay. So pieces are the size I want. Now I like.
Tastes like hard candy floss.
I like to have a bit of cream with my meringue. And you can certainly just put layer upon layer, but I like to just fold some of this cream into the meringue. And I'm just going to gently kind of toss that meringue in that cream. That way, when I'm eating the meringue, I'm going to get that beautiful soft, pillowy creaminess as well. So that's looking good.
Meryl, I think I need to go longer than a walk, probably a marathon, to get rid of this lot.
All right, now the way that I love to serve it up, as I said, you could serve it on a beautiful big platter, Christmas Day. Just do a big lot, put some spoons there, it will be lovely. I love to serve it in a pretty glass. And all I'm going to do now is to grab some of this lovely meringue. No, I'm not. I am going to grab some curd that I made this morning, and that's been chilly. And I'm going to put the curd, so you can see how lovely that curd is. I'm going to put that curd at the bottom of the glass. Much or as little as you want. And then on top of that, I'm going to dollop in some of this beautiful mix. That lovely meringue. I don't want it too high because I've got some other stuff to put on there. Oh my goodness, this is
Give that to me.
amazing. It is, it's in my top 10 desserts. I just love this dessert. Okay, so that's gone in there as well. Now, to dress it up a little bit more, I'm just going to take... It's good, isn't it?
It's rather good, isn't it?
So we're going to have dessert before dinner. We've got some beef cheeks tonight, but I'm just going to pop this on my plate. Let's just put a little bit of cream, dollop of cream down there, and that's got the job of holding just a strawberry, a little bit of mint,
It's a fly that likes your cream.
I know, and just a little bit of toasted coconut. That's our little side element. And then on top of here, what I've got is some chopped up mango. And taste your mango. You want to taste the fly likes it too. You want to taste how acidic it is. If it's not very acidic, you could add in some pineapple. Lovely. It's a monkey.
It's a fly.
So lots of that beautiful going on top there. And then just to finish that off, I am going to add on some toasted, I love this stuff, and you have to taste, you'll love that. It's I snack on this stuff. Toasted coconut. This is a salted coconut shards which have been toasted. And then on top of that, just so everyone knows kind of what the base is, a little bit of passion fruit curd.
That's not curd.
Oh yeah, thank you, Andrew. the seeds from the passion fruit that I just saved. So, that's it. Eton mess. Ah, how good does that look? Really good, yeah? For you, my dear. Do you want to take
take a photograph of it before you tuck into it?
Oh, I should do, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'm going to take a photograph and then we'll eat it and enjoy it. You don't need to see me eat that. It is going to be delicious. So, yeah, so to make 3 components. Meringues are easy. Just remember those few basic tips that I gave you. You've got the beautiful curds, and you can mix and match those. And think about the acidity versus the sugar level, so what you're getting is not over sickly and sweet. And you can balance that with the fruits that you're introducing into the mix. And you know how to crisp up the shells. So that's my Eton mess. You've got on the recipe, you've got another beautiful way of serving it, a more modern take which is deconstructed. You could certainly serve it like that, but I can't wait to get my spoon into that and enjoy it. So that's me for today. Now don't forget, I'm a Thermomix consultant. If you haven't yet got one of the mighty TM6s, please give me a call. I'd love to look after you if you're in Australia. And this morning we had some fun with some of my new customers going through orientation, where we spent about an hour and a half looking at everything on the Thermomix, getting them set up, ready to go. That could be you if you haven't yet got a TM6. So reach out. My name's Collette Mitrega. Thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Andrew, say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye to everybody.
Take care, everyone. Have a beautiful Sunday. Bye for now.
It looks as though it says, eat me, eat me.